David Bateson with ItalianCar, and we're very lucky to have had for the past week this beautiful car, an Abarth 124 Spider. So today what we're going to do is give you a quick rundown as to what's involved with the car. So if you feel like buying one, you know a little bit more about it. And if you don't feel like buying one, you know a bit more about it. So let's take a little wander around the car, Josh. So it's I shouldn't say this really, but it's a Fiat. But it's not a Fiat. Okay, so there's a bit of a complicated relationship here between Fiat and Abarth. Abarth is a brand that's always been a tuning brand with Fiat, and a couple of years ago, Fiat decided to hive off a number of models under the Abarth brand. Currently in Australia, we've got the Abarth 595, which is based on the Fiat Cinquecento, the Fiat 500 little car, and we've got this, which is based on the Fiat 124 Spider. Now, in other countries, apart from Australia and New Zealand, we've got Fiat 124 Spider, and obviously here we've got the Fiat 500. But here in Australia, we've only got the Spider, which is the convertible. We've only got that in Abarth format. So if you look down, Josh, at the little designation here, so 124 Spider. Elsewhere in the world, you can get a Fiat 124 Spider, but here it's only Abarth. So, as you'd expect with a convertible, there's, hang on a minute while I try and open this boot, there we go. There's not a huge amount of room in the boot, but there's a little bit of room, so don't go on your family holiday in this car. And then if you keep on coming around, Josh. So the engine. Looks like we've got a couple of learner drivers that want to do a little bit of reversing here and parking practice. Okay, so come a little bit. So this is the engine here. It's actually a 1.4 litre. It's a tiny engine, 1.4 litre 4-cylinder inline. It's what's called the twin air or the multi-air, and this is turbocharged. So this particular engine generates 125 kilowatts, and it's exactly the same engine that is in the Fiat 500, namely the Abarth 595, and we've driven that vehicle before as well. It's this 1.4 litre turbocharged engine. Interestingly, it must be a little tweaked on this car because this is a little bit faster than the Abarth 595, at least the one that's available in the Australian marketplace. There is another 595 Competizione which is a little bit faster, but it's a little faster than the one that's available here. So great. So the next thing I was going to show you is how straightforward this car is to bring the roof down. Okay, so I just want to show you how easy it is to bring the roof down on this. There's a little button here. It's not electric, but it doesn't really matter because you can do it all from your seat. You just clip it in the back. Okay, so foot on the clutch, foot on the brake, and this has got one of these keys. It's a keyless entry, so it's just sitting in my pocket. We just hit the start stop engine button and away we go. So we're just agreeing that we won't be distracted. If you want to have a quick look at the panel here, this is the control screen, or whatever you want to call it. And the other thing, if you want to look down here where my finger is, we're just about to hit the sports button because this car needs to be in sport mode really to have the fun that you want to have. So let's go for a little ride. So as with all of these sorts of sports cars, it's really low to the ground, and it makes it feel like you're going a bit faster than you really are, I think, but nonetheless it's still pretty fast. The stats on this particular car: top speed 239 kilometers an hour, and acceleration 0 to 100 is 6.8 seconds. That's a little bit faster than the Abarth 595, the little one, both in terms of top speed and in terms of acceleration. It feels really low and solid, and the interesting thing about this car compared to other convertibles is that it just feels very rigid, and I think part of the reason for that may be because we've just got a small area here, which is the convertible bit. It's actually quite a small hood, and the other thing which you may or may not know is that even though this is an Italian car, it's an Abarth, it is based on the MX-5, and the great thing about basing a car, a convertible on a car like the MX-5 is the MX-5 has got an amazing pedigree in terms of Mazda have built a fantastic convertible, and it's been on the market for a long time. So they've ironed out all of the problems that you have with convertibles, and what Fiat have done with this Abarth conversion is they've taken out the Mazda MX-5 engine and dropped in the Fiat 1.4 litre that we looked at, which is a great engine. Fiat are really very good at engines, and they've replaced some of the body panels, and they've generally upped the spec on this. So if you want an MX-5, it's around $31,000 I think on road. This car is $43,500 on road. The version that we're driving today is actually one of the and what's it called there? Launch edition. It's called the Launch edition, and only 100 of these are built. The way you can tell the difference between a Launch edition and a regular Abarth 124 Spider is that it's got little accents around the car. There's little bits of red here, there, and everywhere. There's a bit of red on the side mirrors, and the tow bar cap is a little bit of red, so it stands out a little bit. And this particular model also has got a couple of upgrades on the standard model, so we know that this particular press car has got what's called a visibility pack, and a visibility pack is something that alerts you when you're driving on the motorway. If there's a car in your blind spot, it'll let you know and will alert you if you're just about to run into that car. And it's also got a handy little reversing, it's got a reversing camera, but it's also got a little bit of reversing assistance to make sure that you don't pull out into a car that's driving past you. And given my experiences with the local shopping centre car park, I think that's pretty useful, especially considering that we're a little bit lower down than in a regular car, and the back there sticks out just a little bit more, so sometimes visibility is an issue. But apart from that, the car's an absolute delight to drive. Obviously, if you've got any more than one person you want to drive around with, then that's a problem. But apart from that, it's a great little car. And the other thing that's noticeable, and this is what happens, I'm guessing, when you drive around in a slightly sporty looking car, particularly one where the top's down, is that you get plenty of comments, mostly positive, which is good. But I dare say, much like with all choices of cars, people will draw conclusions about who you are and what you're doing in such a car. Even though $43,500 gets you this car as a brand new car, and there aren't really too many sports convertibles like this one at that sort of price point. So the only other thing I thought I'd talk about on this little test drive was a little bit about which car should you get, because let's face it, very few people know what an Abarth is until it's explained to them, and that sort of Fiat Abarth relationship is unusual. Aren't really very many car manufacturers that produce a completely new brand of car, which is a version of an existing model in their existing range. But Fiat obviously do things differently a bit of the time. So I'm guessing there'll be some Italian car enthusiasts out there who are interested in whether maybe they should get the Abarth 595, the little Fiat 500 conversion, or whether they should be getting this one. So it's really interesting. You can get the 595 from $28,000, so it's actually less expensive than this car. And the interesting thing is, though, that if you've seen the previous ItalianCar test drive of the 595, you know that it's a heck of a lot of fun. It doesn't attract quite so much attention because it's not a top-down, it doesn't look obviously like a sports car, and you can in fact fit a couple of people in the back. It's got a couple of back seats. They're pretty tiny, but if you need to take a couple of people around, and the boot, even though it's minuscule on the Abarth 595, just like the Fiat 500, you can still fit a tiny bit more in there than you can here. There's very little in the way of storage here. I was expecting there to be some little pockets down in the doors, but there aren't any. There's no glove compartment either. You've got this little hidden compartment just in the back where you can stow a little bit of stuff, but that's about it. So I suppose in summary, it's horses for courses. You can get a lot of enjoyment out of a Abarth 595, and you can probably park it in spaces that are a little bit smaller than the spaces you can park the Spider in. Having said that, apart from the fact that the seat is sort of really low, so wherever your bum thinks it's going to be, it's about 3 inches below that, and getting in and out of the car takes a bit of practice. Having said that, it's got great direct steering, and it's got really not too bad a turning circle. So I've just turned the car around in the space of the road a couple of times, and that's really good. Engine fuel consumption, well look, it's currently telling me, the system is telling me 11.2 litres per 100 kilometres, but we probably have put our foot down a little bit here, there and everywhere, so that's what we're getting. It's a little bit in excess of the urban consumption figures they give at 9.1. So I'd say, look, expect to be we're going through 11 to 12 litres per 100 kilometres with this car. So look, that's pretty much it. We haven't given it a spanking. Maybe what we'll do is just show off the engine noise a little bit in a few minutes, and then we'll call it quits. So what do you think, Josh?
I like it.
Okay. What are the bad points?
Just the limited space that it has, I reckon.
Okay. And what are the good points?
The speed and the flashiness.
The flashiness.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you're still recording, are you?
Yep.
Just to take you around here. And there's tons of other things we can talk about, but that's the basic stuff, really. And we're in second gear now, and we'll just put our foot down. And it's got a fair lick of speed there. The only downside with the Speedo is the Speedo is marked in increments of 30 kilometers an hour, so you're either doing 0 or 30 or 60 or 90. It can be a little difficult to work out where you are, so bear that in mind. So that's David Bateson, editor of ItalianCar, signing off.